Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to today's NXT review and opinions video. So we've got quite a few matches to go through and honestly, 3 of the 6 matches were great. Got a great rating. In ring this week was, I would say, higher than usual. I don't remember the last time we had 3 great matches outside of that Madison Square Garden show. So this was something really special. Jaida against Jordynne, great 60%. Swipe right. Gotta be the MVPs of this show. Against Fraxiom, great 73. Soul against Jasmine in a qualifier, good 98. Hank and Tank, obviously continuing to get their builds, continuing to get showcased. They were in a match they lost against the Culling, but good 95. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised now if they win that gauntlet and go on to face Fraxiom. Then Wes Lee against Inamura, good 96. And then, of course, our main event, Javon Ober Trick against Dark State. Not bad at all. That got great 58. So the best match was Swipe Right against Fraxiom, which really was mind-blowing. It's funny because before the actual watch-along started, we spent a couple of hours chatting away. And the point I made was I really enjoy watching Evolve because I really enjoy trying to figure out if I had to give some feedback to wrestlers, what feedback would I give? And then on the show, Swipe Right put in an amazing performance. And I am sort of left scratching my head like, I genuinely don't know what I would say to them. There was a few moments that were a little bit scrappy, a few bits where, you know, they're trying to do a few too many things and it kind of looked a little rough around the edges. But I would not change that because I loved the urgency in the match. I loved the fact that I felt I was watching 2 teams trying to get the win. I loved how much this mattered to Swipe Right. And the fact that it was just slightly rough in certain places, I think really contributed to that feeling. So I wouldn't even necessarily tell them to go away and just polish a few things. I don't think... I don't know. I don't know what I would feedback. I suppose in order to keep delivering matches like this, you're going to need to add to your moveset. So I suppose it would be something along those lines. But they were so impressive. The urgency that they worked with, the different kind of moves that they employed. I love that one tag. And then the one guy, I still don't know their names, kind of slingshotted through the rope after he had tagged himself in. Slingshotted in to kind of keep that urgency going. He easily could have just stepped through the ropes and got in that way. But instead, he's slingshotted himself in there. It was very good. Very, very good. And the highest rated match. And honestly, one of the highest rated NXT matches of the year as well. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It really was kind of attention grabbing. Lots of other talking points. Obviously, GIULIA returning. We've got the Fatal 4-Way match being made for the women's title. We had some more people qualifying. Ava was saying about she's got an idea. Seems like Roxanne is going to be involved at Stand and Deliver because Ava's idea seemed to suggest something to do with the Metaphor girls and also something to do with Fatal Influence. It felt like it was something to do with tag teams. Roxanne appeared and she was like, well, I don't have a tag partner. I can't be in a tag team. I haven't got a tag partner. So it does feel like she's going to be in some throwaway tag match and she's probably going to need to get a partner. Obviously, it's going to be very interesting to see who that partner's going to be. I wonder if it'd be someone like Cora Jade and actually now they get back on the same page. But I don't know. I mean, considering we thought we were going to get Bayley versus Roxanne, and now that's just not where the conversation seems to be. That's a little bit of a head scratcher. Dark State looked really good. They look really good. A few question marks around Cutler during our live stream. He definitely feels like the one that kind of stands out in that group. But, yeah, Saquon Sugars was looking very good. The ring gear was okay. It was fine. It worked for them. That's it, really. I mean, just we kind of took steps forwards. Obviously, we got Street Profits. They just had a few words for Hank and Tank, just saying be yourselves. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, at no point did I find myself getting bored. I felt like the show really moved at a pace. I think it really helped that out of the 6 matches, 3 of them were great. One of them was good 98. The other one was good 96. That was Wes Lee against Inamura. Obviously, we know that we've got a multi-man match next week to figure out who's going to face Ricky Saints. I'm sure that will be Ethan. But we did see Eddie Thorpe. We did see Wes Lee. There was a few people kind of getting involved there. So, yeah, let's jump in the chat, have a little walk, see what you lot are saying. Score-wise, was this better than Raw? I don't know. I think it's really close. I gave yesterday a 7. I think I might go 7.25 here. I think the match quality was better, although Bailey Lyra was excellent. So, yeah, I'm going to say this just pips it, but I don't think the gap is that wide. I'm going to say this just pips it. So, Muggsy said, Dark State versus Trick Ober, Javon was match of the night. But something is definitely off about Cutler. He needs a lot more work. Saquon and Dion Lennox looked like they knew what they were doing. Jordynne, Jaida was sneaky goods. Multi-man matches are too much. 7.5. Stream gets 100. Muggsy, shout out to you. There is a lot of multi-person matches at the moment. Brendan, shout out to you. Raymond said, Daze, I thought NXT tonight was good. Matches were good and glad to see GIULIA back. NXT as a heel now. Very interesting. I'm going to rate NXT for tonight 8.5. Shout out to you. See you Friday. See you Friday, buds. Parker Tiffy Time said, I really enjoyed NXT tonight. I'm happy that GIULIA is back. Can't wait for Stand and Deliver, but I'm waiting for SmackDown to see what they're cooking up for Tiffy this week. See you again on Friday and have a good week. 9 out of 10. And now that she's a heel, GIULIA, so good, said Tiffy Time. Yeah, I'm very excited to see kind of heel GIULIA and kind of dig into that. Brady said it was great. I'm excited for Stand and Deliver. I wonder what the match at Stand and Deliver will be that involves the Meta Girls, Roxanne and Fatal Influence. Does feel like a multi-tag team match, doesn't it? I mean, I hope it's more than that. But I don't know. I don't know what... It can't be a ladder match, can it? Because we've already got a ladder match. So, I don't know. Is it just going to be like a fatal 4-way tag team match or something? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not crazy about Roxanne finding her way into that. Maybe they've got something good up their sleeve. Chris said it was about a 6 out of 10. There was multiple botches. There was a lot of botches this week. I would say the Jordynne Grace botch didn't bother me. It didn't ruin and take anything from the match. I do think the Izzy Dame botch is a bit of a problem because that's the ending of the match. Like, you can really make an argument that match should not have ended that way. 1, 2, you can make the argument the ref really shouldn't have counted the 3 and declared Izzy Dame the winner there. Horrible situation for that ref to be in because she's still learning as well. But, yeah, I mean, technically she counted that 3 and there was no pin. So that one, I think, definitely does have to take away from the score. But even with that, I'm still around a 7.25, as I said, because I just thought the action was so good. We really did eat well when it came to in-ring and some stories being developed and lots being set up for Stand and Deliver. Carl said it was normally average, but this being the second last before Stand and Deliver, it was awful. Felt like a go-home for a B-grade PLE, not a week before WrestleMania. GIULIA, fire. Jasmine, impressive. Deserves more time to show it. Soul was 2 as usual. Main event was solid. Izzy's Ghost or Aura getting the 3. Rest was at best. So Carl wasn't crazy about it, unfortunately. But yeah, Izzy's Ghost or her Aura managed to get the 3. Jimmy Rabbit said, I'm surprised the sloppy, botch-filled ending of Parker-Grace match wasn't mentioned much online. Not talking down on any of them, but I expected it to be brought up. What, do you mean the suicide dive? The suicide dive that kind of went wrong for Jordynne. I don't know. That doesn't massively bother me, to be honest. I mean, we saw Jay botching a dive the other week. And I know that, like, that kind of thing can go wrong, and obviously we all remember Flop Dollar. But to be honest, if I'm Jordynne Grace, I'm pretty grateful to Izzy Dame, because I think that botch certainly impacting the end of the match and the 3 count. I think that one is the one that's going to grab the headlines. Saw nothing, just heel Giulia. That said, though, I enjoyed it overall, and I can't wait for the 4-way, said Jimmy Rabbit. Jimmy Rabbit, shout out to you, buds. Alfie said Jaida versus Jordynne was awesome. Trick over Javon was great. Rest of the show was good. 7.5. Ryan said 8 out of 10. Really good show. I enjoyed it a lot. Stand and Deliver is shaping to be a good show. I wonder who will challenge Ricky Saints. Probably Ethan Page. I would think so as well, yes. That would be a great match. Looking forward to Evolve tomorrow. Let's go. And SmackDown Friday. Let's go. Keep up the great content. Ryan, shout out to you, buds. Taker 1990 said NXT was fire again. Moment of the night, in my opinion, was Giulia packing up Stephanie, Jordynne, and Jaida. Chris said, hello, Daze. Hello, Chris. Another good NXT. 725. We got the Izzy Oops of the 2 count. Izzy Oops. And Stephanie doing the really bad babyface thing. Saying, I'll fight all 3 of them. Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. So I can give myself only 25% chance of winning. Thinking Giulia is going to become a heel. She's so good as a heel. Thoughts? I don't know her as a heel. I haven't really seen her as a heel, to be honest. So I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing she is. I've been told that she is. But yeah, that line about Stephanie fighting all 3 of them, giving herself 25%. I do hate that. Las Vegas Matt said, I'm such a Giulia stan myself. So it was great to see her and Giulia as a heel. It was a better show building towards Stand and Deliver than either Raw or SmackDown have been for WrestleMania. I thought Swipe Right looked good in defeat. And Sol Ruca is a star. 8 out of 10, said Las Vegas Matt. American Bully said, why do they keep pushing Hank and Tank? I just don't get it. Jobbers on SmackDown and Raw vibes, I just don't like them. Well, I think AB Jobson's right, to be honest. I think they are the ones they've been building for a title opportunity. So I think the story is Hank and Tank go out there every week. They're trying to figure out who they are. They get advice from tag teams that tell them to do this, do that, but that's just not who they are. So they keep losing. And so I would be surprised if they don't win the gauntlet and then go on to face Fraxiom. I would not have Hank and Tank win the titles. I am not that invested in Hank and Tank, to be honest. But I think that they could have been kind of getting them on TV so that when we do Fraxiom against Hank and Tank, they're 2 teams that you've seen on a regular basis, even if they have been losing. Benjamin said, it was pretty good. It's always good seeing Eddie Thorpe and Lexis King. Chanel said it was a decent show. I was surprised with Giulia's return. Same. I thought they would bring her back at Stand and Deliver. Absolutely love the fact Jasmine got to show what she is capable of. She's a future champion, in my opinion. Is he getting a win, even though it was extremely weird what happened? I don't know about you, but I feel like NXT could do with women's tag titles, said Chanel. Yeah, definitely. They had them before. We had them, but we don't have them anymore. So, yeah, I don't... I think the reason, right, I don't know the actual reason, but I have theorized before that I think the reason we got rid of them is because we're not really looking for actual tag teams. We're not trying to create actual women's tag teams because the women's tag titles on the main roster used to be the only mid-card belts. And so I actually think the women's tag titles was a way of getting women on TV and keeping them in the mid-card. So, there wasn't an Intercontinental, there wasn't a United States. But what we did have is we had the women's tag titles. So think about when Sasha and Naomi were tag champs. I know they ended up walking out. But, we didn't have anything for either of those around the world titles. So we used them in the mid-card. The mid-card belts were the tag belts. So it was a way of putting them together, getting them on TV, creating a team, and, giving them the only mid-card belts. So we're not looking to really create a female Road Warriors, a female New Day, a female Usos. We're not really looking to bring proper women's tag teams in, because I think the women's tag titles on the main roster are really just a way of getting teams thrown together and actually getting women on TV that otherwise may find themselves sat in catering, Look at Liv and Raquel. They're not around the world titles, so they've gone down to the mid-card, and we've chucked them together in a tag team. Who could it be that they might be facing? Natalia and Maxine, Bailey or Lyra, Shayna Baszler or Zoe Stark. Do you see the theme here? Like, outside of, say, Kaden and Katana that have been teaming for a long time, we don't really have established women's teams. Instead, we just chuck girls together, which is very frustrating. But again, that's my theory as to why we do it. So, yeah, you could have women's tag teams in NXT, and we could look to build up that women's tag division. Certainly now that we do have other mid-card belts for people to compete over if they're not needed in the main event picture. Right. Sub Hodeep said, NXT was great, and I'm glad that Giulia returned as a heel. And will we see Roxanne at Stand and Deliver? It does feel that way, yes. Wrestling God said, I'm scoring it an 8. Larry said, Daze, NXT was better than Raw. Jaida Grace match was great. And the ending with Giulia and Stephanie made it even better. Can't wait for Stand and Deliver. The 6-man tag match went as expected, since Ober, Trick, and Bouncy could not get on the same page. I do love calling him Bouncy. 8.5 from Larry. Larry, thank you, my friend. Matthew said, this is a 2-parter for my NXT and Raw reviews. First, Raw was good, and the promo between Jay and Gunther was awesome. And Bronze Spear was awesome. And great show, 9 out of 10. As for NXT, great show, and Stacks is turning. Craig said, since I didn't watch it live, but I listened to the play-by-play, I would go watch videos on their X account. I can't legally give it a score. Really? It would be illegal. But it did seem like a decent show. If I was going to give it a grade, it would be 10 out of 10 for heel Giulia. Craig, shout out to you. We got 3 more. Look, John Elite said, love the presentation for Dark State. Is Giulia a heel now? It feels that way. I wouldn't say it's totally confirmed, but, standing on your friend's face, holding up her belt. It doesn't say peace and love to me. She had her foot on Stephanie's face when posing. I wonder who's going to challenge for the North American and the tag titles respectively. Love seeing Swipe Right. Street Profits appearing was also cool, said John Elite. John Elite, shout out to you. Callum said, Days NXT was good. Been enjoying Dark State. Don't think the match was amazing, but it was good to see them in action. Wonder what they do at Stand and Deliver. Giulia heel turn will be very interesting. Really enjoyed the Culling stuff tonight. I'm going to give NXT a 7, says Callum. I like the Culling stuff. I like their sit-down interview stuff, and I like Sean Spears saying I might have lost the title, but this was never about me. This was about you 3. So, Brooks, Nico, you go out there and show Hank and Tank what you're all about. Izzy, you go and qualify for that ladder match. This is about you. Like, I agree. I really like that. I thought that was good. Obviously, just a shame about how the Izzy match ended. And Nishi said, as usual, it was a good episode. Dark State's match and Giulia's heel turn were great. Swipe Right excelled, and it's good to see a full-time tag team, unlike the ones with single stars. Rooting for Soul to win that ladder match, so giving it 7.5. Well, there we go. Almost bang on 20 minutes. I would have a look at the scores for the show, but I was a little bit late putting it up. So it's only going to have a few responses, but a lot of sevens there. I think I could see this one coming in at great. I could see it being low-end great. I do agree with that comment earlier, though, and that is, this is a really solid show, and it does feel like we're building towards a PLE, but does this feel like WrestleMania season? But then saying that, I don't know how much NXT ever feels like it's a part of WrestleMania season. Like, Stand and Deliver is obviously a big show because it's the show NXT do during WrestleMania season. But they don't really ever make it feel like NXT's WrestleMania, you know? That sounds a bit weird because it's literally on the same day as WrestleMania, but I don't know. Stand and Deliver is a show, a big show, but I don't really ever think of it like, oh, Stand and Deliver's coming. This is where we go huge. It hasn't got that reputation with me. I kind of feel like there's other shows that we do that are big as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Perhaps like it's a bit unfair to say, oh, it was a good show. It feels like we're building to something. It just doesn't feel like WrestleMania season because I don't really know if NXT partakes in WrestleMania season. But we know that Raw and SmackDown have been very underwhelming this year by those standards. So, yeah, I'm going with 725 and I'm happy with that. Okay, there we go. Thanks for joining and listening and sharing your thoughts. We will be back later with Evolve, and obviously we'll have another Unseen. And yeah, we're working our way towards Stand and Deliver, which is really not that far away now. Bye for now.